specialized state team that responds to critical health emergencies and deploys when necessary to provide patients with on-site medical care. We are calling all available medical professionals to join this team and support the fight against COVID-19 by providing care in high-need areas. Your efforts can help and save the lives of fellow Missourians. Today, Director Parson is with us today to give us an update from SEMA and the Department of Public Safety. Director.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to let everyone know that Missouri's medical professionals are already responding in very large numbers for the Governor's call this morning for additional help to the COVID-19 response. They are responding in such strong numbers that they're encountering delays in our online volunteer system. We have IT personnel working to correct the situation so the website can handle the volume that we're experiencing. We expect that to be completed this evening. For now, you're experiencing problems on the site. I would ask that you close your browser window completely and go back to it in an hour or so. Refreshing or having the browser window open only puts more demand on our system. So this evening, we invite medical personnel interested in volunteering to go to our Department of Public Safety website. That is dps.mo.gov. You'll see a prominent graphic that reads, Recruiting Medical Personnel in Response to COVID-19. Click on that and it will take you to a description of the program and a link to register. I want to say a special thank you to Missouri's medical professionals for responding, and thank you for the patience as we work through the technical difficulties of your tremendous response. Thank you. DPS, SEMA, the Department of Health and Senior Services, and the Department of Economic Development teamed up to expand the call for volunteers because we know how important and how effective the Missouri Disaster Medical Assistance Team is. We call it MO-DMAT 1. DMAT volunteers have already assisted 2 hospitals in the state who needed additional support because of the toll the coronavirus has taken on their personnel. Last month, when a patient of the Golden Valley Hospital in Clinton, Missouri, tested positive for COVID-19, there was a concern the disease could spread to the staff. Many staffers at the small hospital were quarantined, and additional staffing was needed. Golden Valley reached out to our DMAT team, and DMAT was able to staff the hospital with 3 medics, a registered nurse, and a medical doctor. They joined the permanent staff for 5 days at the hospital, providing a critical bridge between the staff and those impacted by COVID-19. That was March 18th through March 22nd. Then, the DMAT medical personnel just yesterday completed a similar mission at another hospital where the permanent staff had been exposed to the coronavirus. In that case, the DMAT team consisted of 2 critical care nurses, a medic, and they helped permanent staff for a total of 6 days. This is the kind of vitally needed assistance DMAT can provide, and we welcome the wide range of medical skills from the professionals who are volunteering now to assist. Another medical response effort that SEMA has is called Show Me Response. In March, that medical group registered 362 new volunteers, which is up by a factor of 10 compared to the average month. As Governor Parson has said, this is a war that we're waging against the coronavirus. In a war, you need well-skilled and reliable personnel. We have them in Missouri. We just need to mobilize more. That's what this initiative allows us to do, and we're inspired by the overwhelming response we're seeing from Missourians. In a war, you also need logistical capabilities. We're mobilizing and moving shipments of PPE and vital resources the same day that it arrives. But right now, our biggest obstacle is a slow delivery of PPE that we've ordered. Since this began, we've ordered over $42 million worth of PPE. For example, we've ordered 4.3 million N95 masks last month, To date, only 25,000 of them have arrived. Our vendors assure us they're continuing to expedite our orders, but the supply chain is slow for everyone across the nation. So we're doing whatever we can in the meantime. Yesterday, SEMA worked with FedEx to expedite getting an additional 95,000 surgical masks through customs in another state and get them into Missouri to help protect people from the coronavirus. We're expecting more PPE and hand sanitizer for our first responders next week. In a war, you also need the support of the citizenry, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We at the Department of Public Safety, as well as the rest of state government, urge everyone to continue practicing social distancing. The more effectively we all do that, the more quickly we can win the war against the coronavirus. I'm encouraged because across Missouri, we're seeing people who are positive with their efforts. They're keeping their distance, they're friendly, and they're courteous. We also get questions about social distancing and how the local restrictions may vary, but people want to comply. That's what's best for their families and everyone in Missouri. And together, we will get through this. Thank you.
Sandy, thank you very much for the update. One thing I might just say in reference to the volunteers that we're looking for to help with these teams, I know some of you, maybe this has been retired or maybe is no longer in that profession, but maybe wanting to help. Doesn't necessarily have to mean you got to be on the front line fighting the COVID-19 virus. There's plenty of other things we could use support in to maybe free up those other people that are working the front line to be able to even give them opportunity to get a little time and a little rest to be able to fight COVID-19. So thank you again, Sandy, for what you're doing on that. In addition to the capacity of our healthcare system, we also continue to closely monitor Missouri's supply chain. I want to assure you, Missouri's food supply remains strong. Agriculture plays a vital role in taking care of our most basic needs during public health emergencies. And the Missouri Department of Agriculture continues to work closely with its partners to maintain our strong food supply chain. Today, Director Chin is here with us to give us an update from the Department of Agriculture. Director?
Thank you, Governor. The COVID-19 outbreak has definitely changed the daily life of every Missourian. Some of us are making fewer trips to the grocery store. For some, it means more conference calls and video calls. For others, it means longer and more demanding shifts if you're in healthcare. Although it has changed our daily routines, the one thing that it has not changed is the strength of our local communities. We are strong and resilient, and we take care of each other when times get tough. It's proven how thankful that we all need to be for our face-to-face conversations, eating out with our family, or simply going to the grocery store and having abundant choices. We've traded all of those for teleworking, for restaurant pickup, and taped lines on the grocery store to mark 6-foot guides for us. If you look closely, COVID-19 has actually brought out some of the best in our towns, both in rural and urban areas. It reminds us who we are as Missourians. We're people who show up and we get the job done. Just 10 days ago, I was here with Governor Parson updating you on the strength of our food supply. We have seen tremendous leadership from Governor Parson as well as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue. It's very clear the important role that Missouri agriculture will play during this COVID-19 outbreak. I'm happy to report that agriculture from farm to fork is catching up with the unprecedented food demand. As I said last week, this is not a supply issue. It's simply a demand issue. Our distribution networks made really quick adjustments as the demand for products that were used at schools and restaurants decreased sharply almost overnight. All the while, the demand for the supplies increased in our grocery stores. We continue to make adjustments and get better every day. Our food supply remains strong. At my local grocery store, we're starting to see the shelves fill back up. They're catching up to that demand. Our agriculture workforce is critical during this time, from our farmers and ranchers to the frontline grocery store workers. We know that COVID-19 information has been in the overload at some times. It can be hard to see the good things that are actually happening around us during this time. Our team at the Missouri Department of Agriculture continues to work to assist every part of the food supply. We've seen a lot of positive stories, and I want to share a few of those with you today. If farming has one overwhelming purpose, it's to feed people. And the Missouri Farmers Care, which is an organization of food and agriculture organizations, they've launched a special fundraising campaign called the Drive to Feed Kids. Over the last 3 years, this drive has provided 6.5 million meals to kids in need. All the funds go directly to Feeding Missouri. Feeding Missouri is one of the 200 food banks that is a part of the Feeding America network. Feeding America projects a 30% increase in their expenses over the next 6 months. So what does that really mean? It's a $1.4 billion shortfall in resources for our food banks over the next 6 months. So if you feel strongly about learning more about this, please go to MissouriFarmersCare.com/drive to learn more and to be able to donate if you're able to. A primary demand for fluid milk is the school lunch program. On behalf of dairy farmers all across the United States, Midwest Dairy is donating coolers to school districts across our state to safely deliver and keep milk cold. This will soon be extended to our local food banks across the state as well. Many restaurants are taking care of the hardest working people right now in healthcare and some of our most vulnerable children at the same time. They're also donating food to the food banks and to the food pantries in their communities. Our grocery stores are providing team member bonuses, and they're working creatively to find unique opportunities to serve their local community. Many of our ethanol plants have shifted from producing fuel to hand sanitizer. Our protein companies are trying to make sure their workforce is protected, and they're screening their workers as they show up every day to ensure a healthy workforce. Our life science companies in the state have been providing medical supplies every opportunity that they can. And of course, all of these stories are fueled by the beef, pork, chicken, fruit, vegetables, grain, and dairy products that are raised by our Missouri farmers and ranchers. I want to say thank you to our farmers and ranchers for your hard work during such an uncertain time in agriculture. You've felt your commodity markets drop. You've also felt the results of those changes in the distribution networks. And we want to thank you for continuing to feed our state, our nation, and the world through these very difficult times. I also wanted to take the time to once again thank the men and women who are in healthcare. To all the doctors, the nurses, the administrative staff, the county health department leaders, and everyone else, we know that you're rising to the occasion, and our job in agriculture is to support you. We know that you're tired, and we're counting on you. So I want to promise you this. Missouri farmers and ranchers will continue to be there for you. All Missourians can count on our farmers and ranchers all across the state to make sure that we continue to have an abundant food supply, and you'll see the food in the grocery store shelves every day when you go. Thank you, Governor.
Chris, thank you. Thank you very much for that update. I am thankful for the optimism shared by our farmers, ranchers, and agriculture community during this time of uncertainty. There is a sense of normalcy returning to our farms in Missouri. Grass is coming up, sun is out, farmers are returning to their fields for spring planting. The crops we are planting now will be critical to feeding, fueling, and clothing the world soon. They keep Missouri moving forward. On the behalf of all Missourians, I want to thank everyone who contributes to agriculture. Many companies and organizations have stepped up to help during this time of need, including Sysco Foods. The global leader in food service, Sysco has been working closely with many stakeholders to assist the Missouri's food supply chain. Today, their president, Rob Kirkland with Sysco Foods, is here to give us an update of his company. Before I bring Rob up, I had a chance to visit with him in November and his company to see what things they were doing and what innovation they were doing to help many areas across the state, including places of poverty, to do the things they were going to do. Unfortunately, here we are today with COVID-19 at the forefront. And what does companies like his do in a time like that? I had the opportunity to talk to him before we come in here just a little bit. His company has done over $50,000 worth of donations and support for communities around his company areas and around the state of Missouri. I'm thankful to have leadership of companies like this, and he's just one example of so many good people are doing so many things right now to help one another out. And it's an honor to have him here today to talk about his company and what they're doing when it comes to the food supply of our state. Rob?
Well, Governor Parsons, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today to speak. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Kirkland. I'm the president of Cisco St. Louis. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted all of us in unprecedented ways. And as the global leader in food service, Cisco is uniquely positioned to help Missourians. As the crisis has unfolded, Cisco has been working closely with a variety of stakeholders to address both the added constraints on our food supply chain as well as increasing our work against food insecurities in our communities. In the restaurant community, we're working with our customers to set up delivery and takeout platforms that will help keep people working and providing the tools and the products to help others convert their restaurant dining rooms into mini-marts supplying food staples to their neighborhoods. We're also serving the most vulnerable in our community, from pop-up food pantries to meal prep and distribution sites for out-of-work restaurant and hospitality workers, to direct-to-consumer donations of product and perishables, just to name a few. On March 19th, we announced a goal to donate 2.5 million meals in a 4-week period as part of the pandemic response strategy. Today, I'm very happy to report we achieved that goal in half the time. Local to our region, we've partnered, Cisco St. Louis, with a number of support organizations such as Operation Food Search, the Circle of Concern, the Urban League, and Better Family Life in efforts to get many donated essentials in the hands of our neighbors in the most need. Most notably, we were honored to partner with the Urban League in providing groceries and essentials to more than 1,000 families this Thursday of this week. The collaborative efforts of volunteers, police officers, the Urban League staff, and our workers was nothing short of remarkable. It's a true testament to how the citizens of this great state come together during the most difficult of times. And we expect more significant additional donations as needed. So, Governor, on behalf of Cisco, I want to let you know and assure you and the citizens of this great state that you can count on Cisco to continue with these efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rob, thank you.
You've been
very
listening to a
much.
press conference from Missouri Governor Mike Parson. We do want to recap some things for you.
Sometimes
Updated
people-
numbers, 2,301 positive cases in the state of Missouri. The death toll at 35. These numbers are changing by the hour, so we are doing everything we can to make sure that we keep them updated for you on all of our platforms. One of the things the governor touched on is that the departments throughout the state are working to recruit medical professionals who may not be working right now to join a state team that can be deployed to treat COVID-19 patients. We also learned that the state is working against a slow-moving supply of PPE. They said that $42 million worth of PPE has been ordered. Some of it has come in, not all of it. They said in the meantime, they are doing everything that they can. Lastly, we heard from the Department of Agriculture ensuring that the food supply in Missouri is strong. We will have more updates for you on our app, online, and of course during our next newscast, which is at 5 p.m.